Soldier. I want to be a soldier because I can help the country. My Uncle Rod gave it to me when I was in Ohio. When he was in the Army, he got this and he showed me like helmets and powder and stuff. I think it was
Well, my name is Rod Hostler, and I am an Army veteran. Spent 25 years in the Army, and I'm retired now. Live in Ohio. I was stationed here outside of Boston for about 3 years during the early 90s. Most memorable moment. I used to be a paratrooper, so I jumped out of airplanes. And I think every time you make a parachute jump, that's always memorable. Because once you get out in the air, it's very quiet, and then the fear factor kicks in as you quickly get to the ground, and always concerned about landing safely. So that's always memorable. Although I spent 25 years in the Army, I was never in combat. Came close, but never in combat. So I don't have the kind of combat experience that many returning veterans have. However, as an infantry officer, we used to train a lot to go to war, and we did have instances where soldiers were injured, and one of my duties as a battalion adjutant was to investigate accidents where soldiers were either injured or killed. I had soldiers run over by tanks and shot and killed on parachute jumps, and those are always traumatic when you're there on the ground and helping in the recovery and then trying to find out why an incident happens. Never really afraid. Even jumping out of airplanes, it didn't really concern me too much because you're trained to react to different kinds of situations. It just comes with the job. Afraid. Mostly after I got married, and you're afraid that if something happens to me, what's going to happen to my family. But as a soldier, it never concerned me. I was never really afraid. You really bond with your fellow soldiers, and it doesn't make a difference whether you're an officer or an NCO or an enlisted man, because you're all in the same environment. There's danger almost every day that you do training. Certainly when you go to combat, there's danger. And you rely on each other, part of the team, to make sure that the mission is accomplished and everybody does what they're supposed to do. And you really look forward to when the mission is over, because everybody has a sense of accomplishment. And there's a lot of relying on each other to get the job done right.
Anything?
I can sure.
There we go. That's what? Oh. My name is Elizabeth Bush. I live in Cleveland, Ohio, and I enlisted in the Army in February of 2009. I served 3 years on active duty and 1 year in the reserves. And I was all of basic training, just because you go into it with thinking that this is the hardest thing I'm ever going to do, and why am I doing this to myself as you're going on another 10-mile road march, or going through the gas chamber. And then when you graduate and you realize you just learn a lot about yourself and the things that you're capable of doing after those 9 weeks. And my husband, I met him just before he deployed to Afghanistan. And that was really hard when someone that you love is in danger, and that's sort of the other side of a deployment that people don't always talk about, is how it affects the people you love at home and worrying about them every day. And I think the scariest moment was he called me every Sunday, and he missed a phone call because they had gone out on a mission that went a lot longer than they thought it would, and called me the next day, and there's that huge sigh of relief, everything's okay. And that was probably the scariest thing that I went through, because it never really leaves you. You're always a soldier, and it's sort of a hard thing to leave behind, and yeah, it stays with you forever.
My name is Francis Guioni. In the Navy, 57, 58, Reserve, years. That's a Gearing class destroyer built in 46. One of the most memorable is crossing the equator. When you are accepted into the realm of Davy Jones. And of course all the guys that have done this already know what's coming. So they save all the swill from the mess deck in big 55-gallon drums for a week or two. And everybody gets prepared. And then all the guys who've never gone through before, they start. You walk down the deck or crawl down the deck on your hands and knees, and you get a paddle. And then you get operated on. They'll either cut a big swath of hair off, they'll paint your face with violet gentian, they'll dunk you in the tanks that they made. They make a big tunnel out of canvas, all the swill and garbage in it, and you gotta crawl through it. And then you've gotta kiss the royal baby, big fat chief with a diaper on. You gotta kiss him on the belly. It's all quite a lot of fun, really. And that means that's for the officers too, not just the guys.
You bet.
Right, good.
Especially jumping out of airplanes, that was always fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd do it again.
I'd sign up tomorrow.